In this video, we'll explore the events that unfolded in Costa Rica. Maria Luisa Cedeño, a 47-year-old woman, was discovered unresponsive in a hotel room, sparking a comprehensive investigation. Maria Luisa had bite marks from multiple individuals on her body, and the only sound reported by the hotel staff was the barking of her dog, suggesting that something was amiss. Born on May 29, 1977, in La Fortuna de San Carlos, Costa Rica, Maria Luisa was the youngest of 5 siblings. She completed high school in 1994 and was a diligent student with aspirations of becoming the first in her family to earn a university degree. Fueled by her determination to succeed, she pursued a medical degree, graduating from the medical faculty at the university in San Jose. She earned master's degrees in anesthesiology and rehabilitation and surgical medicine, establishing herself as a renowned specialist in the field of anesthesiology. Many individuals dedicated to their careers often find little time for personal relationships, and Maria Luisa was no exception. She had a brief relationship with a fellow doctor she met during her university studies, which ended in February 2020, leading to a period of depression. The global virus-related restrictions further exacerbated her situation. Seeking a brief respite from her troubles, Maria Luisa decided to spend the weekend at a tranquil coastal location. She booked a room at El Manion Inn in Capos Punteras, selecting a ground-floor room with 2 entrances to accommodate her beloved dog. She checked into the hotel on Saturday, July 18, 2020, with plans to depart on Monday, July 20th. Her stay proceeded as planned. Maria Luisa checked into her hotel room on July 18th and spent the following day enjoying the beach with her dog. She explored local streets, capturing photos to share with her loved ones. That evening, she ordered a bottle of wine, 2 glasses, and water to her room. However, she failed to attend the 8:12 a.m. breakfast on Monday, July 20th, causing concern among the hotel staff. By midday, with no sign of Maria Luisa and her dog barking incessantly inside her room, the staff became alarmed. Maria Luisa's room had 2 entrances, and the maids approached the courtyard entrance. After unsuccessful attempts to rouse her by calling her name, they entered the room to find bloodstains and Maria Luisa's body wrapped in sheets on the bed. One of the maids immediately called emergency services for an ambulance and the police. Unfortunately, Maria Luisa had passed away hours before the call. The circumstances of the case were peculiar from the outset. Despite the global virus-related restrictions causing the hotel to be nearly empty, there was always staff present, yet no one reported hearing or seeing anything unusual. Maria Luisa's room was equipped with an electronic lock, allowing security to track key usage. The police found that no one had entered the room except Maria Luisa herself. Although the staff had a duplicate key, it remained unused on the night of the incident. However, Maria Luisa's room also had a sliding glass door that did not require an electronic key to open, leading investigators to speculate that the perpetrator entered through this door or that Maria Luisa allowed them in. The police quickly dismissed theft as a motive as the victim's valuables, jewelry, and money remained untouched. Criminologists examining Maria Luisa's body discerned the perpetrator's intentions. She was found naked, showing signs of a fierce struggle. DNA traces were found under her fingernails, and bite marks were evident on her face and chest, along with finger marks on her ankle, bruises from severe blows to her face, traces of strangulation on her neck, injuries in her genital area, and traces of seminal fluid. Distinct footprints were found on the floor next to the bed, and her phone, 2 glasses, an open bottle of wine, and water were on the table. Forensic experts determined that head and neck injuries were the cause of death. The expectation was that DNA samples would be obtained from the bite marks on Maria Luisa's body. However, the results were surprising. The bites on her chest and cheek contained her own saliva, indicating that the perpetrator had contaminated the bites with their saliva to obscure their DNA. Another peculiar aspect was that the perpetrator had washed Maria Luisa's body before wrapping it in a sheet and placing it on the bed, likely an attempt to destroy evidence. The loss of Maria Luisa was a devastating blow to her family, particularly her elderly parents. The torture she endured before her death intensified their grief. Friends, colleagues, and relatives were in disbelief, mourning the loss of this kind, cheerful, and compassionate individual. News of the brutal crime spread rapidly across Costa Rica, prompting the police to seek the perpetrator responsible for Maria Luisa's death. The investigation began with scrutiny of everyone who worked and resided at the hotel during Maria Luisa's stay. Although CCTV cameras were present at the hotel, they were non-functional and no recordings were available. Despite the global situation causing the hotel to be almost empty and affecting the staff numbers, Maria Luisa mentioned to a friend that the same individual served coffee and performed other duties at the hotel. Despite these circumstances, she noted that she was enjoying her time there. The hotel was owned by Harry Bowden, a Dutch businessman born in 1951 in the Netherlands. He relocated to the United States in the 1970s and began his career at Hilton, eventually rising to the role of hotel manager. In the early 1980s, Bowden became the director of the National Press Club in Washington, an institution frequented by journalists, politicians, and presidents from around the world. Over time, Bowden amassed a diverse real estate portfolio across various countries, including a hotel in Costa Rica, where he resided with his younger husband, Eder Danilo Owando. Teodor Herrera Martinez, a 38-year-old guest at the hotel, was closely associated with Bowden. According to Bowden, they met at a bar where Martinez worked as a stripper. About a year later, Bowden offered him a job at his hotel, which he later terminated. However, due to a lack of customers, Bowden allowed Martinez to reside in one of the rooms without charge. The two maintained a friendly relationship, with Martinez occasionally undertaking personal tasks for Bowden and assisting with hotel maintenance. Martinez became the primary suspect when an official police dog led investigators to his room's door. Scratches on his back and cheeks, likely inflicted by Maria Luisa Cedeño during her struggle, were discovered, along with blood traces on his shoes, implicating him in the crime. Martinez was arrested the day after the incident and imprisoned for 6 months, during which the authorities conducted their investigation, gathered all the details of the crime, and prepared the case for trial. 5 days after Maria Luisa's death, the police detained a second suspect, 36-year-old Luis Carlos Miranda. Like Martinez, Miranda was a close associate of Harry Bowden. Miranda had served as Bowden's public relations specialist during the peak of Bowden's business success. He also resided in the hotel but faced employment issues. Initially, the police withheld specific evidence that led to Miranda's arrest. However, it was later revealed that forensic experts believed Miranda had left one of the bite marks on the victim's body. Miranda, like Martinez, was imprisoned for 6 months. Initially, the police speculated that Maria Luisa might have invited someone to her room, basing their assumption on her order of 2 glasses. However, interviews with her family and friends revealed that Maria Luisa often used 2 glasses when drinking wine, using the second for water. A month after Maria Luisa's death, the hotel owner, Harry Bowden, was arrested. One of the bite marks on the victim matched his dental impression, leading investigators to believe Bowden was one of the 3 individuals involved in the crime. All 3 suspects denied any involvement in the death of the prominent anesthesiologist. While Miranda and Martinez were sentenced to 6 months in prison, Bowden was placed under house arrest due to his deteriorating health, reportedly suffering from Parkinson's disease and battling cancer. The police interviewed Bowden's husband, Eder Danilo Owando, who refuted the possibility of Bowden's involvement in Maria Luisa's death, providing a detailed account of their activities on the day and night of the crime. On that day, Owando woke up early as usual to assist Bowden with his morning routine. He then went back to sleep and later proceeded to his office on the hotel premises to work on improving hotel attendance through website development. Under government-imposed restrictions, Owando spent the day working, and in the evening, he consumed rum with Martinez and Miranda by the pool. Owando claimed he and Bowden were asleep when Bowden's phone rang around 1 a.m., answering a call from a hotel security guard reporting Martinez's theft of beer and wandering the hotel corridors. Owando helped Bodon confront Martinez, finding him partially dressed with a beer. Bodon reprimanded Martinez and instructed him to leave the hotel. After this incident, Owando claimed they returned to their room, which was the night of the crime. It was peculiar that no one in the hotel heard anything, considering Maria Luisa's severe injuries and struggle. Authorities suspected Uder Danilo Owando's involvement in the crime, but found no evidence to substantiate these claims. As previously mentioned, Harry Bodon was under house arrest, equipped with an ankle monitor, and prohibited from leaving the hotel or contacting other suspects. At the end of 2021, Bodon sold his hotel due to declining health and the need to finance legal expenses. The new hotel owners denied him residency, forcing him to relocate. Although Bodon provided the prosecutor's office with his new address, they considered him a flight risk and transferred him from house arrest to a prison hospital in March 2022, where he criticized the quality of care, alleging human rights violations. The trial commenced in September 2022, with new details emerging after each court session. The prosecutor's office identified Teodoro Martinez as the main suspect, citing scratches on his body, his DNA under Maria Luisa's fingernails, and the presence of his seminal fluid at the crime scene as evidence. Due to the significant public interest and extensive media coverage, the trial experienced multiple postponements due to space constraints in the courtroom. Harry Bodon appeared in court in a wheelchair, accompanied by his lawyer, who petitioned for his client's transfer to house arrest on health grounds. However, the court rejected this request. The prosecutor's office outlined their version of events, suggesting that on the night of July 19th to 20th, 2020, 3 individuals entered Maria Luisa's room and assaulted her. They gained entry through a sliding glass door, assuming it wouldn't be detected in the hotel's records. Given that no one heard the victim's screams, the hotel was nearly vacant. The prosecutors believed she was asleep when the attack occurred, likely having her mouth covered to muffle any sounds. Harry Bodon and Miranda left bite marks on her body, with these two allegedly restraining Maria Luisa while Martinez acted out his violent fantasies. Despite her efforts to resist, the men overpowered and severely beat her, ultimately strangling her and breaking her cervical vertebrae. Aware they had time to hide evidence, they cleaned her body, placed it on the bed, and covered it with a sheet. They also attempted to mask the bite marks with her saliva to obscure foreign DNA. However, each defense team pursued a distinct strategy. Bodon's defense contended that their client had recently undergone knee surgery and had mobility issues, making it implausible for him to have participated in the crime. The trial was postponed when the expert witness, slated to testify about the teeth marks on the victim, left the country. Miranda's attorney called upon a Spanish orthodontist from Madrid who argued that the teeth marks were not substantial evidence. Intended to last 2 days, her testimony concluded prematurely as she returned to Spain, feeling intimidated by the prosecutor's office, which challenged her credentials and threatened legal action due to her lack of accreditation from a Costa Rican professional association. The Ministry of Justice and Peace's conclusions dismissed the possibility of a single perpetrator, emphasizing the involvement of all 3 men. Miranda's defense contested the theory of multiple assailants, criticizing the investigative procedures and highlighting inconsistencies that they believed warranted Miranda's acquittal. In court, the lead investigator testified that it took over 5 hours to thoroughly examine the crime scene. The perpetrators had washed Maria Luisa's body in the bathroom before moving it to the bed, a fact revealed by the application of luminol. With no signs of a struggle on the hotel room floor, but finger marks on the victim's ankles, experts deduced that at least 2 people had carried her body to the bed. Teodoro Martinez faced more compelling evidence against him. It was revealed during the trial that Maria Luisa's blood was both inside and outside his shoes, suggesting he might have been barefoot during the crime and had stained his feet with blood before putting on his shoes. Blood was also discovered on his phone and watch, and his DNA, including seminal fluid, was found on the victim's body. Consequently, Martinez could not deny his involvement in the crime. In light of this evidence, Martinez acknowledged intimate contact with the victim, but denied any further wrongdoing. During the investigation, it emerged that Harry Bowden had knee surgery at the same clinic where Maria Luisa worked. However, she was not the only anesthesiologist there, and there was no evidence to suggest they had ever met. Bowden also denied knowing Maria Luisa, claiming he only learned of her stay at his hotel upon receiving a call about a deceased woman in one of the rooms. During interrogations, Bowden was questioned about the malfunctioning security cameras in his hotel. He explained that while there were cameras, they were non-operational due to budget constraints. "We had about 5 or 6 low-quality cameras, and gradually they all broke down," Bowden clarified. He also cited electrical issues in the hotel, which the maintenance staff managed. The only evidence linking Harry Bowden and Luis Carlos Miranda to the crime were the bite marks on the victim's body. Consequently, the trial hinged on whether dental prints could be deemed conclusive evidence. During Miranda's trial, the judge clarified that dental evidence, specifically matching the teeth pattern with the bite marks, was inadmissible because the accused had not been read his rights before the sample was taken. Although there was some evidence against Bowden, the judge highlighted the impossibility of determining a match between his dental cast and the bite mark. Forensic experts claimed their dental analysis allowed them to rule out everyone at the hotel on the night of Maria Luisa's death except Miranda and Bowden. However, there remained the possibility that someone else had inflicted the bite marks, casting doubt on the evidence's credibility. In April 2023, Teodoro Martinez was convicted of Maria Luisa Cedeño's murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison. Harry Bowden and Luis Carlos Miranda were acquitted due to uncertainty surrounding their guilt. However, the story did not conclude there. In October 2023, the Costa Rican Court of Appeal decided to re-examine the case against Bowden and his co-defendants with a fresh panel of judges. The Costa Rican prosecutor's office presented the alleged teeth marks of Bowden and Miranda on the victim's body as evidence, aiming to persuade the new judges of their authenticity. The Court of Appeal's decision was not unexpected for Bowden. Given the failures in the prosecutor's office's investigation and the numerous inconsistencies in this case, "I'm not surprised," he remarked. He also accused the female prosecutor of bias, alleging she exploited the case to further her career. Having already departed Costa Rica, Bowden now resides in the Netherlands. Even if the Costa Rican court decides to detain him, he faces no risk of extradition due to the absence of an extradition treaty between the two countries. In an interview with Dutch journalists, he stated, "Considering my dreadful experience with the Costa Rican legal system and the almost 3 years I spent in prison, it's not in my interest to return. There are too many policies there driven by public opinion. The country has an outdated legal system, corruption, and its media is akin to that of a banana republic. I can't take any more risks at my age and with my health issues." Thus, this case remains unresolved,